Good morning. You are watching Moth News Live. It is Friday, the 17th of October, 2025, and I'm Keith Walsh. Welcome. And our good friend, our what we call it, chief reporter, news editor, all of those things. Any journalistic titles belong to this man here, who we call Oscar. How are you, Oscar?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Keith, and
Okay.
yourself?
Good. Right. Let's look at today's show. Ireland's startup system is under the microscope, from Altada to Senoptica and Viv. Why so many taxpayer-backed tech companies end up in examinership or liquidation while their technology quietly changes hands. It's like the modern pillaging of Ireland. So the Vikings came back in the day and they took all of the stuff from the monks, the gold. I mean, you did mention you're part Danish, aren't you?
I am half Danish, yes.
So your ancestors came and pillaged our country.
Allegedly.
No,
I'm also half Indian, so my other
that's
half
okay. Yeah,
was,
we
like,
get
pillaged.
on. Yeah, we're aligned. We were both colonized by the Brits, so it's like is a modern melting pot of cultures and problems and issues, but we're managing to get on with each other, aren't we?
Yes, we coexist now.
We coexist. Barely. So now we see the modern pillaging of Irish tech by, let's not call them Vikings, let's call them tech Vikings. We will be talking about that. Mostly, Oscar has some news on that, and then I'll be delving into that deeper with Al, who has had some experience of his own of tech being pillaged from his company. We'll also hear from Care Champions Ireland on how Budget 2025 leaves carers and families behind. And I will close the show with my open letter to RTE about the broadcaster's misclassification of workers, most especially me, this worker. First up, our top stories this Friday. And it is a packed show. Tony Blair is back on the diplomatic stage, and not everyone is thrilled about it. What? We'll hear from Oscar in just a moment on Blair's new proposals for Gaza, the brand new Gaza 2.0, and why so many remember his last adventure in the Middle East. I like that my script has said it's an adventure. It's like Tintin, he's like just going around having the crack. EPA says over half of Ireland's rivers, lakes and estuaries are now officially unhealthy. We will talk more about that later. And in tech, the Irish-linked weight loss startup Viv has gone under despite claiming better results than Ozempic, a bigger story than it first appears. We will find out more about that. But first, over to Oscar at the Moth News Desk, or Oscar's News Desk, as I like to call it. Oscar, are we kicking off with this clip of an interview you did during the week?
Yes, we will hopefully be kicking off with that clip, and it's from an Italian protester who was at the protests in Rome on Saturday, 4th of October.
Yep.
As I said I would bring back last week. So here we go.
You did. You said that, and now you're doing it.
I know. It's almost like I'm doing my job right.
He's a man of his words. That's what I like. So let's have a look at this clip, and then we'll chat about it afterwards.
There was a moment that is really impressed in my memory now. We were in this street, Via Merulana, which is a street that I'm very fond of also because it's part of a great Italian book, that huge mess in Merulana Street, Quel pasticciaccio brutto di Via Merulana. It's the original title. So it's a political place, it's a cultural place. I'm very happy that this event took place in that street, okay, because I think it's symbolic. It brings a very huge resonance with it. So we were on the street, and a very old man came out of his balcony. He was around 80, and it was clear that he could not take part of the manifestation because of his fragile physical condition. But he started to wave a keffia out of his balcony, and the whole crowd was with him. And of course, we cheered him. We showed him huge appreciation, and we felt protected. Because where you are, when you are in a march in the streets, all these huge buildings, and in a place like Rome, this is amplified, of course, because the buildings are majestic and enormous. All these huge buildings, it seems like they're looking down at you. People from their homes, from their houses, they're looking down at you, and you feel like under a lens. And knowing that the people that were watching us were with us was a huge relief. It gave us a feeling of even bigger participation to the event, even bigger cohesion. And Italy, it's not a place where find cohesion. It's simple. It's a very divided place historically and also in the contemporary era. So it was really a huge moment for us that gave us a honest impression of how the Italian people feel right now, and how is the shared feeling about the Palestine situation in our country.
Well, there you go. Tell us, people can watch this full interview at some stage. You're going to upload it next week?
Hopefully next week. I'm just waiting for Michela to confirm that he was happy with the full interview, and then we'll air it. As you can kind of see, though, the Italian people are definitely motivated against Israel and against the genocide that's currently ongoing.
Yeah.
Does that remind you of anything in particular?
Well, first of all, I want to say well done to Italy for knocking Israel out of the World Cup. Norway beat them 5-0, and then Italy beat them 3-0. So there had been calls for Israel to be banned from the World Cup, but that doesn't need to happen now because they were beaten soundly by two teams.
Which sport was this?
This is football, association football.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
to a man like yourself. Soccer, if you live in Ireland. So does it remind me of anything? What could it remind me of?
Well, so I was kind of thinking, at least from the coverage that I've seen, that it might remind you of the 2003 protests against Iraq, against the UK going into Iraq.
I mean, I don't really remember, I don't remember the protests being that prominent, or there being much news in 2003 about the protests against going into Iraq. What I remember is how the West needed to go into Iraq. This was important because your man had weapons of mass destruction. He was developing more. There was evidence of this. A team had gone in and found them. And then on the back of that, Tony Blair said, well, we got to go in. We got to go in and get this guy. And you know, he was siding with the Americans. I think I remember the French at the time saying, we don't want any part of this. And you won't remember this. But at the time, the Americans stopped selling French fries and they sold freedom fries. So it's a very American reaction to what was going on.
They should actually be called Belgian fries because the US cannot read maps.
Well, that's fair enough. So I don't remember the protest being that prominent. I remember it feeling like the right thing to do. I'm not saying that I agreed with it, but that was the overall narrative of the time.
Fair enough. I think
less social media at the time as well.
Less social media.
So we were reliant on newspapers and mainstream media.
Definitely. And also in the beauty of hindsight. So if we can look back to February 15th, 2003, when up to 1 million people marched in London and 10 million worldwide, including in Dublin. BBC called it the largest protest in UK history, and people came from all walks of life, not just the usual suspects. As a guy called Ewan Ferguson said at the time, there were, of course, the usual suspects. C&D, Socialist Workers' Parties, the anarchists, but even they looked shocked at the number of their fellow marchers. There were nuns, toddlers, women barristers, the Eton George Orwell Society, archaeologists against war.
The Eton George Orwell Society.
Eton George Orwell Society.
Okay, so even the Etonians were out there.
Yeah, even the posh boys are going out and saying this is bad. And you can bet that their dads were involved in Parliament.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And even Jeremy Corbyn was there, and he said, for a moment, we felt like we'd become mainstream. But it didn't matter. Blair pushed back and then pushed back and said, we're going to push ahead with Bush. And he said that Saddam Hussein had WMDs ready to be hitting the UK shores within 45 minutes.
Yeah.
These claims were later proven to be false, according to a thing called the Chilcot Inquiry in 2016.
2016, yeah, which is too late. I mean, it was 13 years later.
Yeah, it takes 13 years for us to admit
figure
that we
out.
make a mistake.
Yes.
So the UK joined the invasion before peaceful options were exhausted. Blair exaggerated the threat and ignored intelligence doubts. He told Bush privately, I will be with you, whatever. And that's really bipartisan politics.
So that was like 8 months before the invasion. He had told George Bush, I will be with you, whatever. You can't say that.
No, you can't. If you're the democratically elected member of parliament, you should be kind of like seeking votes before taking your entire country to war, and not just going, I'm going to war, definitely for Bush, because the special relationship definitely matters that much.
So it all worked out fine then, as we remember.
Yeah, totally worked out fine. Nobody was killed. Everything went great. Definitely. In actual fact, the result was catastrophe. In 2006, so 3 years after the war, the Lancet reported 655,000 excess deaths, most from gun violence.
Yeah.
2.5% of Iraq's population died in 3 years.
How much?
2.5%.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
In 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite successful.
Yeah, if we're going to just kill people for no reason. Blair had been warned against these actions. Powell called it a terrible bloodletting. Fallujah aside, even the Call of Duty Modern Warfare menu uses a real photo from Fallujah, one of the world's bloodiest battles of the war.
Oh, do I have that? I think I might have that. Is that something I have?
Bear with us for technical difficulties.
Maybe not. Nah, I don't.
No, it's fine. It's on Reddit. Just Google COD MW4 and then Fallujah, and it comes up. So my point there is we're just commercializing war later in hindsight now with COD MW4 with that. And when we fast forward to now, Blair is back in power, kind of. He's pitching a new governance plan for Gaza via his institute and says it will involve regional partners, outside oversight, and developmental aid.
So, I mean, there's never been, I mean, apart from 2002, 2003 and going forward for the next few years, there's never been a problem with British involvement in the Middle East. And, it's always worked out well. So it's good that we're continuing, what is the sign of insanity is like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We're basically doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Have you got high hopes?
I don't have high hopes, given that a lot of people already involved in the Middle East say, we remember Blair, we remember what he did. Loads of people died. We don't want him back.
Yeah, but you're saying you're a Hamas sympathizer, aren't you? Because you're saying it's Hamas that are saying this, aren't they? And they're terrorists.
No,
they kill people.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Hamas have killed people, yes.
And they're not an official army. They just wear like the IRA. They're like jeans and Doc Martens army. Don't count.
They are still the governing body of Palestine, even though it's completely been subjected to horrific war crimes throughout. And one of their officials said, we Palestinians, Arabs and Muslims have bad memories of him, being Tony Blair. We remember his role in the killing thousands or millions of civilians in Afghanistan and Iraq. So Blair was allegedly said somebody told Blair, people told me to listen to the public, but the public is constantly saying different things. So it's kind of Blair's best judgment at the end. So
Blair's like, they told me to listen to the public, but the public are saying the things that are wrong and won't allow me to do what I need to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So this guy's definitely got a success rate going through into the Middle East, and he hasn't caused thousands of deaths previously, and his peace plan is definitely going to work.
You heard it here first. Best of luck, Tony Blair. And this time it's definitely going to work. We've said depressing news. Ireland has a water problem, and it's not the drinking water, because unlike when I was a kid, you can just buy bottled water in the shop.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's river water, lake water.
Plastic water bottles have microplastics in them as well.
Oh my God!
Yeah, microplastics.
Bringing all the good news, just cheering everybody up on a Friday.
Yeah.
Is there nothing we can do? Is everything bad?
Pretty much, actually. So, according to a new report from the Environmental Protection Agency, more than half of Ireland's rivers, lakes, and estuaries are now officially in an unhealthy state. The country is sliding backwards again. In just the past year, 38 rivers have worsened, only 9 have improved, and we're not just failing to clean things up, we're actively letting them not be cleaned up, and we're making it get worse. And the EP say, what do you think the EPA says?
Everything's cool, nothing to see here.
Nope, they're saying more needs to be done to improve Ireland's water quality. So I agree with that. But the question is, who needs to do these actions?
Us. Me?
Maybe.
The public.
Yes. Well, I've reached out to pretty much every single Irish river trust I could find.
Yeah.
Haven't heard back from anybody yet.
Right.
So in the meantime, I did some independent journalism, and I've pieced together myself a basic guide of how we, the little people, can clean up where the larger water companies are not cleaning up.
Yes, and this is not to do with bad farming or slurry being dumped into the rivers or industry or
it's mainly industry. It's mainly bad farming practices.
But forget about that. What can we do as members of the public? Because just like our plastic problem, what did they do when it came to plastic bottles in Ireland? Did they ban plastic bottles? Have they banned plastic? Have they told companies like Coca-Cola to stop selling their fizzy drinks in plastic? No, what they did was they put on a little extra cost onto the bottle. So when you buy a bottle, you pay a little bit extra, and then you take the bottle home and you drink your Coca-Cola. Watching a movie perhaps, or just walking around the park, you'll enjoy a refreshing Coca-Cola. But then you got to bring that bottle back, and then you got to put it into a machine, and then you put the bottle into the machine, and then it'll give you back the bit that you paid extra. So basically, it's a people problem. Have they done the same with the water?
No, they have not.
But what if they did? Let's imagine.
They're pulling back. Taking the contaminated water out, cleaning it, and then put it back in. I'm not really sure how this works.
I think they should make the Irish take the water out of the rivers, clean it up, put it back in, and then we get like a token for a swimming pool or something.
To be fair, like the recycling system like that does work well in some other countries. As I've said, I've lived in Copenhagen, and that works really well.
It works well, but it's making the problem.
It's our problem when it's actually the larger organizations.
Just ban the plastic.
Yeah, that would be the easy thing to do. But no, we like to do things the hard way.
We don't ask big business to do anything more than they're already doing, because that might eat into their massive profits. Anyway,
and we won't tax them.
What can we do to make things better?
So we can, number one, watch what you flush. Don't pour oil, bleach, leftover paint, or garden chemicals down your drain. Those go straight into your local water treatment plant, and if that's overwhelmed or broken, they go straight into your river.
Nice.
Think about your garden. If you've replaced your front
garden...
Can
I just stop you there?
Yep.
You're talking about watch what you flush. Don't pour oil, bleach, left or down the toilet, basically, or down the drain.
Yeah.
But you do know what goes into a toilet.
Bleach.
No, but like what comes out of a human body and goes into a toilet?
Feces. Yeah.
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, think about your garden.
If you've replaced your front garden with concrete or fake grass, rainwater has nowhere to go, so it floods the road, the drains, the sewer systems. Plant native hedges or wildflowers. Let the ground do what it's meant to do, absorb and clean. So, do some like pottery and some paint. Not pottery, planting, sorry. You can do some pottering at the same time whilst you wait for your plants to grow. Pick up after your dog or cat or whatever.
Flush it down the toilet.
No, recycle it. I don't know. But pick up dog poo. It's a leading source of nitrogen and bacteria in small urban streams.
Right.
Not like the empty Coke bottles or whatever, or beer bottles.
Or the cow poo.
Yeah, or the cow pads.
Yeah, definitely not that.
Lots of nitrogen there as well. Yeah. Number 4, report pollution. If you see raw sewage, oil slicks, algae blooms, or fish kills, report it. By fish kills, I mean like dead fish floating in the water.
Yeah, Tony Blair's been.
Yeah, Tony Blair's been there. I'm not saying the fish are killing people.
Tony Blair's been brought in to save the fish. Somehow they all died. Carry on.
So, and report this stuff not just to the council, but to the EPA or Inland Fisheries Island. Number 5, join a local cleanup or start one. There are dozens of small catchment groups and river trusts around Ireland. There's a pretty useful infographic map, like if you just Google River Trust Ireland. And just because they haven't replied to me, they might still reply to you, and you can volunteer with them. And you don't need to be an expert, just someone who cares. Because being unhealthy is the official word, but what that really means is we've let the rivers go to all hell, and there's no one's being held accountable. So if big companies won't clean up after themselves, and they almost never do, then it's on the rest of us to do.
Yeah.
The small people, the ones who actually live near the water and these rivers and drink the water, and it starts with what we flush, what we pave, what we pick up, and who we call when it stinks.
I mean, you say small people. I'll have you know I'm 5'10.5". Right. Viv, speaking of something that smells fishy, and is this something Tony Blair could come and sort out? The pillaging of tech, I'm going to say indigenous tech companies in Ireland?
I wouldn't trust Tony Blair to build a spaghetti tower at this stage. But so potentially.
Okay, spaghetti tower.
So when I first heard about Viv, otherwise known as Vitals in View, I assumed it was the usual startup story. Maybe the product never got traction. Maybe the science didn't really hold up. Or maybe it was one of those tech things that sounds promising on paper, but fizzles out in the real world. And this wasn't that, actually. Vitals in View actually worked. Their company claimed better weight loss outcomes than Ozempic. And not by a little. We're talking 9% average weight loss over 6 months, as opposed to 6% by Ozempic. And even better, these Viv works with no injections, no side effects, just glucose monitoring, AI, and personalized coaching. And still, it's collapsed. And that's why we're going to talk about it with Al later as well. This story draws from public statements made by co-founder Rurik Bradbury on the Viv website in October 2025, investor reports, and coverage in the Irish Independent. Vitals in View, or Viv, was founded in 2020 by Rurik Bradbury, Tony Martin, and Pat Phelan. It started...
Pat Phelan?
Pat Phelan.
Yeah. It's a very Irish surname.
I'm still learning how to pronounce Irish
names.
Right.
That's all right. I'm here to help you.
Thank you. So they started in the US, but have a strong Irish connection with a research center in Cork. The heart of the science came from a guy called Tony Martin, a physiologist who'd been covering this program for 25 years, and he's trying to improve people's lives by helping them lose weight.
That's Tony Martin.
Tony Martin. I just went like kind of Jack Sparrow there. So the concept was really simple but really radical. Instead of prescribing drugs or restrictive diets, which nobody really wants to do, more drugs bad, restricted diets also bad. Viv would use continuous glucose monitoring to give people real-time insight into how their body reacts to food, movement, and stress.
Right.
Then it layers this AI coaching on top.
So it's good. Let's just say it's good tech.
It's good tech, and it's backed by like biometric data.
And what happened?
So
the product is working. Why did it die?
So the company said this got nothing to do with them being sued by Abbott, which is a large-scale pharmaceutical company, because they had like a name change.
So they had been called Limbo. They insisted they change it.
So
they had a similar product called Lingo. They said you need to change this Limbo to Viv.
So they started as Viv, then they go to Limbo, kind of like dropping the Facebook or whatever.
Okay.
And then Abbott sues them. Then they go back to Viv.
Okay.
Allegedly, that lawsuit had nothing to do with their
demise.
With their demise.
Yeah.
And like, even though their product's working, multiple investors have just walked and they had the last investor meeting last week. Up to 50 of these private investor startups and founders had gone and said to them, no, we're just walking away. Their last one walked last week, and now, as far as I'm aware, the company is going into liquidation.
Okay, so it was a brilliant company doing really well. Got the answers, better than Ozempic, etc., etc. It's getting the investment, it's getting the money, it's getting the results, and then all of a sudden something happens and everybody just walks away.
Yes.
But the question is, because we've seen this time and time again, and this is a very familiar playbook when I talk about the pillaging of tech companies in Ireland, this looks like another example of what we've spoken about before, what we'll talk to Al about with Altada. We're going to talk about another company as well. It's basically, I'm saying it's live at the moment. This is also happening to another company at the moment. The playbook seems to be that people I'm not saying that it is in this case, but it looks very, when it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's possibly
basically a duck,
or maybe a platypus or something. But the point is that this is happening again, and it's happening time and time again. Enterprise Ireland don't seem to be interested in doing anything about it. We don't seem to have any oversight. What happens is this company has collapsed because the tech is so good, because it's doing so well. Other companies are alerted to it. The red phone rings in in this American or British company who are also in this area. They're dealing with, they've got products like Ozempic, and it's either a threat. It probably is a threat, and they want to take this tech. This is my wild theory, right? So somebody is on the inside collapsing the company from the inside. The tech becomes available at a knockdown price. Then you'll find that it's sold. You'll read the headlines in the paper. It's on the Business Post. The Currency, like, American company take over. Viv was a disaster, and now this American company's coming in to save it. And we've seen this time and time again. Does it look like a duck in this case?
It looks like a duck, and especially when you consider that outside forces, maybe from the big pharma industry, for Viv in this case, where Ozempic is your direct competitor, it's got loads of clout. If you have Viv, which actually works on the small scale, their pricing plan seems affordable, and it doesn't use any drugs. It's actually good for people. Whereas if you're the pharmaceutical company, you're just losing thousands of dollars of industry, maybe millions. So it's a lot easier just to sink the company that actually works and continue to supply out people with drugs that have a black box FDA label, which is seriously damaging.
Yeah. It's not good.
No, other black box FDA labels include OxyContin, which definitely hasn't caused an opioid crisis. Nah,
that was absolutely fine. So this is bad. So here we go again. At some point, it just seems like this couldn't happen in the UK, for instance.
No, it couldn't happen in the UK because of some legal thing. I think it's called TPLF.
Yeah, they have oversight.
Yeah.
Whereby if something is happening, if a company like this is going into receivership, certain people are alerted, and then there's a bit of an investigation, and these things can't just happen. It's where Ireland lacks the oversight, lacks the will to have oversight over these things. It just it stinks, and it's not good for Ireland.
It's not good for Ireland. It's not good for investors. It's not good for anybody who's actually trying to make a self-sufficient state where you're effectively, if you have a great idea, somebody can go in, destroy your company from the inside, face no legal challenges, and it's all based on a 1600s law. Like, so you can just have your entire company, even if it's doing well for society, go under, get bought out by larger companies across the globe, and then you're left there with nothing.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's very bad.
Bad. Do you have any good news?
Pretty
bad, Oscar. Bad.
It's Halloween soon. There's your good news.
Yay! What if you hate Halloween?
Don't go outside on Halloween.
Ooh.
That's...
Okay, thanks very much, Oscar. Let's go to our friend in the US. It is Al. Should be there if I can just bring him in. Al, how's it going, man? How are things stateside?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're not great, but let's just try and actually, let me just play this for you, because I think you'll enjoy this, and then we'll come back to you and see if the sound is any better. You're looking good. That's the main thing. Hang on, let me just play this for you. This is I don't know if you come across an organization called Enterprise Ireland. They're quite good. I heard this radio ad for Enterprise Ireland recently. You might be interested in this. Here at Enterprise Ireland, we're here to help entrepreneurs and startups. We're sort of here to help. We're kind of there at the start with the taxpayers' money, and then there's investment stuff that's really kind of like sexy and cool. But then it's kind of up to you. If the company runs out of cash, we will sympathize deeply, but from a nice distance. Remember, our role is to support, not to be held accountable if you fall out with your investors. That's pretty much a private matter. And because it's taxpayers' money, don't track every euro, because, that would require us tracking every euro. So there won't be an audit. God. What we do like to track are success stories, especially ones with journalists and photographers, a bit of ribbon cutting. And if a company does well, we'll be there for the photo opportunity. And if it doesn't do well, we'll be there for the photo opportunity anyway. And we'll be saying that it's done well. And we help Irish businesses go global purely by accident a lot of the time. That's, the universe. Enterprise Ireland. We're here to help, but not really. Enterprise. So I don't know if you know, but Enterprise, the name Enterprise Ireland, because people will enter your company and make off with the prize. That's how they got their name. It's a tough crowd today, guys.
Enter the prize.
They will enter your company and make off with the prize. Come on, bear with me. I think we might have we might have difficulty getting Al on board. So let's just talk about Enterprise Ireland. Let's talk about, actually, in the meantime, I have this clip that I want to play from Care Champions, if I can find it. So the budget was out last week, and we did ask our pals at Care Champions Ireland if they would like to give us a statement, and they sent us a clip of what the budget means to carers in Ireland right now.
Hi, my name is Angela, and I'm a member of Care Champions. Care Champions wishes to express profound disappointment with this year's budget. In the midst of an escalating cost of living crisis, the budget increases are completely insufficient. We already know that people with disabilities and family carers are faced with significantly higher living expenses. Existing and extensive research highlights this, but our government have chosen to ignore it. These higher extra costs, coupled with the reduced capacity to be able to be in paid employment, leaves people with disabilities, family carers, and some of our older citizens highly vulnerable to poverty. This budget, regrettably, sends another and clear message from the government that people with disabilities and family carers are not valued. It starkly demonstrates how disconnected policymakers are from the everyday challenges and hardships experienced by these communities. Care Champions urge the government to recognise and address these urgent realities with the commitment that they deserve.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much for that. So, I mean, there wasn't necessarily, I don't know. I think the budget just happened, and then that was it. Nobody really complained, and you can see there straight from the horse's mouth, as you will, from care champions who deal with carers and their families, and that things are not good for carers, and we really. It's funny because we don't care about our carers. People in care, or the people doing the looking after of people in care. Al, how are you? I believe you arrived in New York late last night. How are you holding up? No, we don't have any sound as yet for Al.
Can you hear me now?
There you are. There you are. Good man. How are you holding up?
I only arrived a few hours ago, man. But
Did you?
Yeah. So I had my flight was cancelled, so I had to travel to another airport within the UK, catch a different flight, and then I got here 13 hours later than expected. So I only
13
arrived
hours later than expected. Okay, and you're still here.
3 a.m. for you guys
to jump on.
Making myself useful. Speaking of Halloween, Keith, I'm actually in a place called Gotham, which is spooky. So I should have came as Batman. Not all heroes wear capes, Keith.
No. You should have come as spooky. You should have come. I've come as a mechanic.
Really?
Yeah.
Should
we? My mechanic jacket.
Yeah. They were all the style in Sir Henry's and
back in the day.
So
retro now, man.
We can try and find a retro.
I'm representing the working man today, and Oscar's coming himself.
I'm coming as a journalist for Halloween.
Scary journalist.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've actually got a great couple's costume plan.
Sexy journalist, isn't it? Like that's Halloween these days. Is just think of something and then come as a sexy something. So sexy journalist, sexy mechanic, and sexy tech guy. But you should be sexy Batman.
So Oscar, you're going to wear the t-shirt saying "I love the mainstream legacy media."
Yeah, definitely. I'll be like, I support BBC News.
That's scary.
Everything's fine.
Very scary. I'm terrified.
Here.
Rupert Murdoch, good guy.
The only problem is when you rock up to somebody's property or house and you knock and you say trick or treat, they're not going to believe you're looking for a treat. They're going to think it's a trick. Sorry, Dad. But was that a bad dad joke? I'm not sure.
They just won't believe what you're saying. They just won't trust what you're saying.
Is it Halloween?
Is it Halloween?
Really?
This is happening. Are you at my front door? Is this my front door? So let's get down to business. We need to talking about pillaging. I mean, the Vikings haven't come back, but it just occurred to me that if we think about the monks, the time the Vikings were raiding from the north, and we're not going to paint the Vikings as the bad guys because we have Oscar here who's part Danish, and I believe you might have some Danish in you as well, Al.
Norwegian.
So there was a thing that happened where the Vikings came down and they pillaged and they took some gold from the monks or whatever. They're only monks anyway. Do you know what I mean? What were they doing with all that gold? I mean, whose right is it to have a lot of gold stashed in a round tower? But anyway, so now what we're looking at is a modern day pillaging of Irish tech. Do you like how I framed this, Al?
I do. I just one course correction on so actually it's weird that you're speaking of Vikings because I only just like to share the kind of a parody history to the Vikings. But when the Vikings came to Ireland, they settled, right? So they actually married, integrated with the community, and then started growing out. So a lot of the agriculture knowledge and trading knowledge came from Vikings, actually, right? And
if we look at places in Ireland, like with Ford at the end, Wexford, Waterford, these were Viking settlements.
Yeah, and anybody would I think the lineage is Mac, like Doyle, for example, would be a very popular Viking name, as my name would have been Beckner at one stage, it changed.
And I think what we're looking at here, the differential is that they're coming and taking the tech out of the country because they're not helping.
they've kept the pillage part very well. Yeah, and there's a few companies coming at us fast and furious, right? So we spoke to Slenderstone a few weeks ago, right? We were speaking to another company called Viv, which is Limbo, right?
Viv Limbo, yeah.
And there's another company that we probably won't speak to today because there's I know there's stuff kicking off with this one, and probably have more information on that and he's more informed than that.
Yeah, I actually spoke to that man there during the week briefly, so we'll bring you more news on that. And I think for Al, you might agree with me here. I think we're getting somewhere with this in that we're starting to we've always joined the dots, but what we're getting is we're getting to speak to people who this is happening to in the moment. And I know you guys, yourself and Neve, are interested in helping these people with how they're going to fight this, because it's a big financial commitment. We know that it's difficult in Ireland for the smaller guy to bring a legal case against people with a lot of money. We've spoken about it before, and those laws don't look like they're changing because the Minister for Finance is, for some reason, not in favour of letting the smaller guy sue the bigger guy. Another something else rotten in the state of Ireland. But it looks like, Al, we're getting people, making people who are in your situation when you were pretty much on your own. It happened to you. You were blindsided. You didn't know that this was a thing, and now it's become a thing. It's become a playbook. There's a lot more happening, but we're able to get to these founders as it's happening and say, this is what's happening to you. I was able to have that conversation with them, with this guy, and say, look, I'm going to tell you what's happening to you without you just listen and agree with me. And so I was able to tell him what was happening. He was like, oh, okay. And he was like, but he has some awareness of it. But I think we're getting somewhere with this.
Yeah, and you have an awareness, but you've kind of got this natural survival instinct to fool yourself. It's kind of like the mind tricks yourself that there's no way that it can be this bad, right? And then you're into that wormhole. I'll tell you three kind of things that happened just this week, which is unusual. Again, I can't disclose our source or our sources, which there are many of. So I'll speak to the outcome, and I'll just allude to the fact that it is somebody within government looking into this, investigating this. There is a number of people that have started to put the pattern together, that this is like, it can't be just like we're failing as entrepreneurs in Irish businesses so frequently. And I use it. The person reached out to me and said, look, we're starting to see a pattern where the company heads into difficulty, and then a process is used to get the company the technology or intellectual property or the value of that business out the other side. So during the conversation, even themselves, even though they were aware of it, as you just spoke to, still couldn't get their head around, is this really intentional? Is everybody in this process aware? And I said, look, I'll just give you a very simple example. So Keith, if you and I set up a business today and we started 50-50, I said, okay, let's say, heavy intellectual property media company, right? Okay. We went to business together, all is well, we're in good faith together, we're driving the business. Business starts growing. Okay. One is an investor, one is essentially the person that brings, all of the sweat equity, has the knowledge, has the domain knowledge, is building the business, bringing all that intellectual currency, which is stuff that you can't put a price on. It's in the person's mind, it's experience, it's knowledge, it's the connections, you know what I mean? It's all what they say is the intangibles, but they're actually the tangibles.
Yeah, so I'm coming to well, I have money, but I have no knowledge of this industry, and I have no knowledge of this tech, and you're going, well, I don't have money, but I have all the knowledge.
Yeah, or you might have a bit of knowledge, right? And that's why you got into it in the first place.
I doubt it.
So you continue down the track, and then one person says, okay, look, I know another guy, we need more money, let's bring them, right? Everybody's tipping along, and then, we hit a wrinkle. There's an issue. Crap. Supplier didn't pay us, creditor issues, whatever, macroeconomic issues. Clients never pay on time, or client doesn't sign up as quickly. Your aspirational project plan or business plan never goes to plan, right? It takes longer to raise funding. Sit down, crisis talk, right, we're in trouble. Actor A is trying to save the business. has been working on the business and has been following your plan, right? And generally, that plan has been constructed by everybody around the table at the same. So, I'll give an example. Speaking to my own example, it was we were to be high profile, to be an AI unicorn, to show that we're a really cool company, that it's an aspirational entrepreneur mission, which is it had to go loud, big bang, that's it, right? And had to be all about competing. That's it. Everybody signed up to that, right? So then it's very easy then for somebody to say, right, listen, I want this company, I have money, right? I'm in a position to bail it out, but I'm not. I'm going to sit back. So your business partner sits back, lets the business go into crisis. Article after articles, you've got Charlie Taylor, Tom Lyons, Ian Curran all teed up. They'll all start writing crappy things. Then you just get into a worse situation. Then rock in the insolvency practitioners that are known for going after directors. John Healy is one of them, known for restricted directors. He's anti-entrepreneurial, he's anti-progress, anti-commercialization. What happens then? Founders crap, they're offered a deal, and the deal is, let's get into an insolvency process. And everybody thinks they're entering into a fair process where you're going to get the company out under some restructuring arrangement, right? Okay? You enter into that, which I know some of these guys have thought they're entering into a fair process. You go into that process, you're out of money because you've been supporting the business. They have been sitting back for money. You're entering into a process where you can't get support because in Ireland we have a legislation issue, which is you cannot get external support for your legal case, right? That's one. So I'll break it down in terms of points, right? So straight away, now you're up against it in terms of the financial impact it's going to have on you to not be able to defend yourself, right? Okay. So now if we just take all that hypothetical situation, add in like, this is everybody's problem because in that process you've got Enterprise Ireland money, you've state money, you've employees, you've intellectual property that was built in the country, you've got, the reputation of the companies failing in Ireland, right? Which makes all that situation. So that's the anecdotal stuff, right? Let's get into the more sinister stuff. You and I are in business together. We got into difficulty. I had money to save it, I didn't bother. I sandbagged that money, but how is it then when the company's in a process and coming out to the side? I suddenly then have enough income to buy the business out of that process, which was shit from everybody's viewpoint, including the media. However, that same shit business I know, and I'm in a financial situation to bring that out, restructure it, and carry on and run the exact business plan that everybody had agreed to in the first place. And now the business is gone. And everybody's just like, well, that was another failure. Geez, that founder is shit, isn't he? And then, or she. And it's like, wait a second. You're all in business together, and the very people that said the business was great at the start decided, made a conscious decision, cognitively to wait until the business was at a reduced valuation on its needs to then come in and buy it out of restructuring. Right? And it gets worse from there because not only is that the process, then what you have is all that money, the money that was needed to save the business, now has gone in. Insolvency practitioner fees, legal fees, high court battles, pursuing the directors, paying out WRC claims. All the shareholders are wiped out, including the government that in fairness, is trying to help to stimulate business, right? They are investing in businesses and they're trying to do that. And I keep saying this, I don't want to brandish the Enterprise Ireland that one brush because there is some really decent people in there that really want to help their country. Like they really want to see Irish economy do well. They want to see the investment work, and they're up against the tide because there's somebody in there, don't know where or who, that is sitting back and alone this happened. And look, it's at a policy level, right? Now, if you stick a pin in that and say, right, let's take that as one shitty situation where you're not entering into a fair process at all. It's not unintentional. It's not benign. And the only reason you'll end up in a restructure process is somebody sees value in the business. And it's generally the people inside the company that see the value. And this is the process they're putting it. That's it. Like, it's not fucking illogical. It's logical. If you just look at it, it's logical.
Yeah.
If you explain it in that way, right? I've 1 bean, you've 2 beans. It takes 3 beans to save the company, or 4. We bring in somebody else to put in the 4, but they're going to wait with that money until you're fucked.
Yeah.
That's it? No. Take the paradox to that into any other location, jurisdiction. right? Let's say the US, UK, other parts of the world, right? Where a restructuring process is a restructuring process to get the business, to save the business. Right? It's not to screw the directors, it's not to screw the employees. And the reason shareholders will behave themselves, and you just spoke to it earlier about our minister, right, is if I'm in deep shit, and I'm going to speak to my experience now, Pete, I had at least 3 people, if not 4, that were interested in financing our legal battle to save our company and save our technology. And they could not, because the legislation doesn't allow you to bring what's called, some people call it the Hail Mary investment, where they finance the deal because there's some really decent people out there that hate seeing entrepreneurs getting screwed over. And in Ireland, you have to fund the deal. So let's get this very clear. You're insolvent. You tried your best to save the business. There's a very academic clause, which is you should not be, if you're insolvent, your director's duty is to shut down the business as soon as possible because it's considered, your trading records. Okay. So every business in the land is totally solvent and has money all the time, is never getting in any difficulty. So every business will shut down the minute they're in pressure. So I want to challenge them now. Give me the statistics on every business in the country, in any country in the world that doesn't get a financial situation at some stage and needs help. Should every business all shut down? Is that what they're saying academically? And do not fucking try. Do not try in Ireland. Because if you fail, they will absolutely blow you off the fucking map. Failure is not an option in Ireland.
Yeah, we don't like failure. It's surrounded by. I mean,
we don't like success because you're begrudged, and they don't like failure.
Yeah,
it's facts, right? So,
but in this instance, it's almost like this legacy attitude towards success and failure in Ireland is almost being used against us because there's a shame in it. There's a shame in speaking out. There's a shame in, like, we look at the whistleblowers.
But Keith, just isolate Viv and Limbo for a second, right? Yeah. So Pat Phelan is seen as the pinnacle guy in Cork, as a tech entrepreneur.
He's the poster boy. He's the poster boy for
And Charlotte Taylor said, "Oh, it's his first failure in 25 years." So he's supposed to have money to be able to save. Why can he not save the business if the business is that valuable? That somebody else is going to buy that technology or take that company forward in the restructuring process.
Why is Pat Phelan choosing not to dig deeper, get more investors? You know what?
Well, he's a history of it. He's got a history of it. He did the same in Slenderton. They went in, the rescue package didn't work, and the same tech was taken out the other side, and now it's very successful.
And who took the tech? Why? How was Pat Phelan involved?
But look at Health Beacon. It's always somebody that's involved in the restructuring. That's it. So it's like guys, wake up. In Ireland, the fiduciary duty and the responsibility of saving the company is on the directors and the directors solely. When most of the time, including myself, and it's actually it's quite vulnerable to admit this, right? At the end, I didn't even have control of the Altada. Like, I was the CEO, like, I know Neil jumped in to help us co-CEO, but I was the CEO, I was the authority, I was the decision maker. I made the shitty decisions. I stand over that.
Yeah.
And at the end, I didn't even have voting control over the company because the shareholders.
Yeah, because what the
shareholders had the blocking rights.
What they're doing is at every point where it's squeaky bum time and you need to raise more money, and they go, okay, we will give you more money, but we need more share. Like, you get less and less control as time goes on, and you're doing it every time in the moment, going, well, this is it now. This is we've reached the basement here. We've reached the floor here. It's not going to get any worse than this. Then it does get worse, and you are sacrificing your control over the company, your tech, your business plan, your invention. You're sacrificing yourself and everything that you've built and created.
Not only that,
to save the company and to save the staff.
Not only that, they're ramping the business up to get you below the control carry.
Yeah.
Right? And then the very actors that are in that process end up with the tech or the company on the other side. And because there's such a shitstorm created around you, your credibility is done. So they're just skipping off into the sunset. So if you just take all of it all the way and say all is fair and nothing more, It's the Shark Tank. You put yourself into a position you can't expect not get abused and put yourself out there. But if you just break it down into, okay, on a simplistic level, why as a country and how is it that Ireland does not have protection for companies against their own shareholders? It's the first thing. That's the point. So let's just remove everything else. How is it that a company is so fucked, but yet it's usually a million, couple of million. We're only 5 million, right? There's lots of bullshit media out there. We're only 5 million in working creditors, and we were heading to close 100 million round at a billion valuation.
Yeah,
That's
so
a fact.
the sums did not add up.
That's a fact. And we had the 260 million external independent valuation done a couple of months before it. That's a fact. So even at its height, and that tech got bought for 2.4 million keys, right? In a fucking receipt. But let's just take that aside and say, right, practitioner, I speak to my case. The fees was commented on in High Court. They were nearly 700,000 euros. 650, I think is the exact. 650,000 euros were going to the receiver, grantor. 250 to 300,000 euros was going to the liquidator. And we had to pay hundreds of thousands to defend it also, and still are doing so. Now just take that in account, right?
Yeah, so you take
And then you've got
how much the tech was sold for 2.5 million. Then you take the other 2 million for the receiver,
the employees and all that. And so the whole deal is about 6 million.
We're nearly at your 5 million.
Well, it's close to 6 million because
Right.
they pay all the toothpaste. That we've made sure all the employees were paid, all the pensions were paid out. Everybody, like all of the employees got paid at the end of the process, and then even people continued on and kept their jobs. Nobody spoke about that, right? And the creditors, if that company was sold at the figure that it was supposed to be sold in the receivership process, all of our creditors would have been paid 100%, and the company would have been solvent again because there was a surplus of cash. Even after all that shite, until the liquidator came in and fucked the whole thing, right? Okay? But the other insolvency practitioner allowed them to do it. And also the revenue guys allowed them to do it. And they lost out. But even if you take that apart and say, hang on a second, but the contra to that is if the business continued on and the guys actually helped it, the business would have still got back to that valuation. And then everybody, including the shareholders, which were the Irish government, the Infos Ireland, and others, Elmstone, would have made money from the output. That's a fact.
So is the reason? So then, why does it make sense? I mean, why would they do this? Is it short-term gain? Is it like his lack of insight? Is it just no? We want these few individuals want to make a share of this 2.5 million or the sale of the
It's fucking greed. It's fucking greed, man.
It's just greed.
Yeah. It's just greed. It's just like, and we've encouraged it because, like, we've created an insolvency practice that enables this behaviour. And I've spoken to this guy who's working with the government. It's off the record. I can't say it is. And I said to him, just follow the data, look at it, and say, right, okay. Now the catastrophic impact for us is somebody on the outside looking in, it's just like, gee, Ireland's companies are failing at nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
We're
Like,
at it, aren't we? Yeah.
or the other side of the sinister side is you've got guys out there like, invest in an Irish company, man. It's fucking so easy to get your money back out at a higher multiple because all you have to do is crash it, get the company great, then it's shit. Take whatever you need that is good. Trim your responsibilities. Remember, all they're doing is trimming the responsibilities. We had 161 people employed in our company when it went into receivership. Right? Okay? Some were contractors. I think it was 97 were full-time employees for Ireland, and we had some contractors, etc. Okay? But if you took it at its height, break that down, and transfer that into the other companies that this is going through, which is Viv, Limbo, Slendertone, the guy that you spoke to during the week that we'll speak more to. Then there's another solar company, right? Okay. But if you look down and say, right, step back for a second, what actually is happening here? The Irish jobs are lost. The Irish company is lost. Our reputation has been impacted as
the investment by taxpayers' money by Enterprise Ireland is gone, and we've no we don't need, like Enterprise Ireland don't seem to, they don't do audits. They don't tell us what happened to the money, like what it was used on. We don't, like, almost like our money is being gambled with. Like there's no oversight there. And Enterprise Ireland don't seem to have any teeth or oversight, or they're like many other Irish agencies. They can't actually go in and do anything.
They don't even have a remedy or an instrument to protect their own investment when a company is heading into distress.
I spoke to that man during the week, and he said that it was said to him that by Enterprise Ireland, if you have a dispute with your shareholders, that's between you guys. That's nothing. We don't get involved in that. You're like,
Keith, that's probably the most valuable point we've made, to be honest, that you just, because that's a very fundamental point. Because if you think about it this way, you're going into a court, judge is trying to make a call in a very condensed space. He's listening to all this noise. First thing he's going to say, sort it out between yourselves. Right? If you cannot sort it out between yourselves, shut down. The final point in that is, and I'm going to stick a pin in this, right? Okay, if everything I'm saying is bullshit and people are cynical, what I'm saying is true, how is it that the vast majority of companies that are creating value in Ireland and that end up in an insolvency process end up coming out the other side in a restructured company? If the company was shit, it would close down and fail. Done. If you go into the US and you hit Chapter 11, it's because the company has failed, there's no hope of survival, it's liquidated, shut down, and everybody moves on and say, right, okay, well, that didn't fucking work. Right?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, and I'm sure it does happen. I'm sure, but what we're seeing is time and time again, the Sunday Business Post, the headline, oh, American company saves beleaguered Irish startup who went into liquidation there, and they're buying them for 10 million. And this is in the front of, this is on the currency, this is the Sunday Business Post, like, this is an amazing story.
But imagine Charlie Taylor's headline is, this guy, Liam Casey, went into Slenderton, did all this process, he was the biggest creditor, pushed it into insolvency, came out the other side, and the revenue investigated. I wouldn't bet against Liam Casey.
Yeah.
This is fucking Charlie Taylor, and this is supposed to be an independent media journalist.
Oh yeah, it doesn't exist. And then we've got this as well, which so this story, Ireland's economy would lose up to 3.6 billion. This is also in the Sunday Business Post. 3.6 billion a year if collective legal actions and the use of third-party litigation funding (TPLF) are permitted in Ireland. A study has found. The report commissioned by the European Justice Forum says Ireland is at a particular risk. So basically, to allow third-party legal funding, which is what you were talking about earlier, which is basically people that want to come in and they go to someone like yourself and they go, look, we have money, we want to help you with this, we want to help you fight this. For some reason, there isn't an appetite to allow this to happen. The appetite is to protect the golden circle, the people with the money.
Keith, it's not only the appetite, dude. It's there's people external to Ireland, in the UK, in the US, and other places in Europe, that would happily put up 2 to 3 million euros to help you defend your case.
Not allowed.
That's a fact, right? That's a fact.
Crazy.
And so on a commercial level, if this guy gets out of his own way, there'll not only be a fucking stampede in Ireland, you won't even be able to stop these companies setting up there because they see such an opportunity.
So the plan now is to speak to the man we're speaking to off the record, see what's going on with him, and then bring that and follow that story through maybe, and then try and get more of these founders, CEOs together talking, and really sort of blow the lid on this and bring everybody to account. We need accountability here.
That's
man, go and get some sleep, and
I'm traveling again, man. I'm started now. I'm good. Green light.
Green. I don't know. Oscar, we just to end the show. We have the People's on finally.
Yeah, sure. So this is
going to be me, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do one. I've got one in spare.
I'll go for it. People's on finally is a funny story that we want the viewers to get involved in. Send in your funny stories, something that happened to you, and we can put it out as an and finally. Well, I'll tell you, Al, I don't know, a funny story happened to me. I was in Amsterdam in the red light district, and I got chased out of it by a woman of the night, by a sex worker. You know, I was just out having a look around. I was bored. I was in Amsterdam, ended up walking down the canal, just saw all these ladies in windows. I was like, what's going on here? Ended up chatting to this lovely young lady, and she propositioned me. I thought she was offering to bring me home and give me money, but that wasn't the case. And I ended up being chased out of the red light district and it was only like the fifth time I had a conversation.
Sounds like a lot like my Copenhagen story.
It was so unbelievable. I had to go back and check.
Story sounds very familiar, Keith.
It was what she was saying to me was so unbelievable, and I initially ran away, but I went back to check. I said, "Are you sure what you're saying to me is €100 for X, Y, and Z?" And yeah, I mean, and then she chased me out again. And it was only fifth or sixth time that I eventually got away from her. It was £100, €100 later, and you know, and we had a good time. So
you must have thought the red light was a barbershop or something.
I just thought it was I thought it was an installation. I'm into art, you know what I mean? I thought it was some kind of like living installation of modern, you know, very, very modern, a lot of nudity. You know the Dutch.
I thought they got rid of all those red light districts.
I think they have since then. They have since me and Oscar went there.
I thought they're blue lights now, are they not?
Thanks very much. Did you enjoy my story?
I enjoyed your story a lot.
Listen, go and do whatever it is you have to do. Stay up for another 48 hours.
Save the city, man.
Got them.
Forgot them.
Go and put your cape on, you lunatic. All right, see you. I'll take care.
See
you. Have a good weekend, and say hello to everybody.
See you, Oscar.
I do want to finish this show with something kind of personal, but you know, maybe people will enjoy or get something from this. So this is a letter. It's an open letter to a lady called Ms. Cusack. Let's call her Emer Cusack, because that's her name. This is a request for RT position following withdrawal of PRSI scope appeal. I wanted to do this. I'm going to send them the email. Probably send them a letter as well. Get a nice sheet of Basildon Bond, a nice ink pen, and send them a letter as well. I wanted to do this openly because I've been in discussions, let's just say, with RTE about the rights of workers and my rights as a worker in RTE. So let me just read this out. This week, the Social Welfare Appeals Office confirmed that RTE has formally withdrawn its PRSI scope appeal concerning my employment status between 2014 and 2020. That means this government department's decision now stands. I was misclassified as self-employed when I should have been treated as an employee. So thank you very much for that, guys. And I just got news of that yesterday. I've written to RTE asking 3 simple questions. What steps will the broadcaster take to acknowledge and rectify that misclassification? Will it issue corrected PRSI records or facilitate retrospective entitlements like holiday pay or pension contributions or sick pay? And what support will it offer to help resolve the tax consequences that this misclassification has caused for me and basically put me in limbo, a word that you might have heard mentioned earlier. This isn't just about me, although it is mostly about me. Thank you very much. It's part of a wider review of how RTE and other companies, how RTE and the state treat freelance workers. There is no such thing as a freelance worker. If you work for someone, you work for somebody. I trust RTE will respond in good faith. I'm Keith Walsh, and this is Moth News Live. Oscar, anything you want to say to the fans before we go?
Have a great weekend, guys. We'll
Always
see you
look on the bright side of life.
Do-do, 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 do-do.
You're going to have to work on your whistling.
I can't whistle.
There's no such thing as can't.
I've been
You
trying
just won't.
for 20 years.
We're all able to whistle in that red light district in Copenhagen. Get that young lady's attention. Have a good weekend. We've been Moth Blues. If you have a story you want to get out there, we're a platform for you, and we will help you get your story out there. Just get in touch with us. Send us a letter. Basil and bond paper only. Ink pen. Thank you very much. Take it easy. Now we have to